Welcome back to Section 3. Today we'll be talking about sorting and filtering. As we said in the last lesson, filtering is just another word for limiting. So whenever you see that word filtering, you know that the data set is going to get smaller, or at least in rows. So right now in our data set we have, looks like it goes down to row 25. So when we filter this data set, you know it's going to be less than row 25. So that's what filtering is. Sorting is just rearranging. So filtering is another word for limiting, and sorting is another word for rearranging. So it's not going to be in this order if we rearrange it, or if we sort it. So let's get started with some filtering. So just like a regular table, you can use this drop-down arrow to see all your data. You can uncheck whatever cities you want, and it'll only show the ones that are left. Or you can use these label filters or value filters. So let's look at the label filters first. So it already gives you a lot of different options to work with. You can do equals, does not equal. So these label filters are basically text filters. So let's do begins with. Now you can either change this to begins with or all the other options that you just saw. So begins with, you can either start typing your word or you can use one of these characters right here. So you notice it says use the question mark to represent any single character. To use this one, we could say question mark Ali for Calistoga. So it's one character. So question mark. Let's say you didn't know what your word started with, but you knew it was something like this. You said, okay, I don't know what the first letter is, but I know kind of how it sounds. You could type it like this, and it'll filter everything except for Calistoga. Go and click here and press clear filter from city. Everything comes back. Now let's try label filters. Let's say begins with. This time we're going to use the star or the asterisk. Use the asterisk to represent any series of characters. So basically this means any number of characters and then whatever you type afterwards. So let's try Long Beach. We could say star, then beach. Sort, sure enough. So what that did, basically it says, I don't know what the first characters are, but I do know what this word is, and you can type that. Let's go ahead and clear it. So the question mark and the asterisk are basically replacements for something you don't know what it is. So instead of begin with, let's go with ends with. How about Bakersfield? Say Baker, just put a star. Sure enough, Bakersfield. So you can filter it exactly the same way. Now let's talk about sorting values. So all your values are over here, all these numbers. So let's go to value filters. Let's go to greater than. And notice it says sum of orders. So I can't choose my cities because these are values, they're not text. So is greater than, you can pick a number. Let's do 1500. Press OK. Now we have filtered everything that is greater than 1500. Now let's take this one right here, 1721. First, let's clear the filter. Value filters. Greater than. Let's do 1721. Let's see what happens. So you'll notice 1721 is not here because it's not greater than or equal to, it's greater than. So that's how value filters work. Likewise, you could do products as well. Put it one below. Of course, anything in value, it gets put as a number over here, so we're doing count. So if you want to filter, we can also filter by greater than or equal to 1721, or we could do count of products. So now we have multiple options over here. So the values are all the numbers over here. Let's try 50. Let's do something greater. Let's do 80. There we go. Now it's cleared this filter over here. Now it's just filtering the count of product. can also do top 10, top 5, top 10. Let's do top 5. This time let's do top 5 sum of orders. Press OK. Then we've got the top 5 cities that had the most orders. And of course, there's lots and lots more. Let's do between. So now it gives us 2 of them. Most of them are going to be pretty much the same, greater than or equal to. Of course, you will have a couple things that is between or is not between. That gives you 2 numbers. Likewise, let's say sum of orders, it's between 1500 and let's say 2000. There we go. So now you know the basics of label and value filtering. Let's move on to sorting. So for this one, let's add a little bit more. Let's add full name after city. So now we have the city at the highest level up here. We have the full name as a subcategory. So we have the main category, we have a subcategory, a full name. So here's how we can sort it. Well, first we can go to sort A to Z. So sure enough, we can sort it alphabetically. Anaheim, all the way to Sunnyvale. We can do it that way. Or of course, Z to A, or just flip it backwards. Or we can go to more sort options. So right now it's doing it by city, and it's saying descending, which is again Z to A. But of course you can also select something else, either city or sum of orders. So when you click over here, you're not just limited to Sunnyvale or the cities, you can also sort it by full name or any other things down here in the rows. So let's do more sort options. Let's go back to ascending A to Z, just like that. So notice that there are multiple ways to do different things. You can either go over here, say A to Z, Z to A, or you can do it from more sort options. But there's also another way you can do this. You can also sort it by the values over here. So let's say you want to see it by the most orders per city. So instead of going over here, A to Z, because that does help us, but it doesn't help us that much. We're more interested in these numbers over here. So let's go ahead and right click. We're going to go to sort. Let's go largest to smallest. Let's see what the most orders on top per city, all the way to the bottom. So we got 2994, and it goes down, 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 all the way to 254. So that's helpful. But now we look down here, and all of these are out of order. We have 396, we got 554, and at the bottom we have 344, so that's not really in order. It's still from A to Z. So let's fix that. Let's go ahead and right click this top one, and go to sort. Let's go largest to smallest. You notice it says A to Z, this little picture over here, AZ descending, or ZA descending. So basically that's the same as smallest to largest, or A to Z, or largest to smallest, Z to A. Let's go largest to smallest. Yeah, sure enough. Now, all of these are now sorted by largest to smallest. But not just for this one, also for all the ones below it. So you can do it that way. But let's just say for whatever reason you wanted to see, let's say Kevin, let's say you wanted to see him higher. Sure enough, if you select it, you can simply drag it. So once you drag down here, once you see this little icon that looks like this, you can click and just simply drag up. And just like that, it drags all the way to the top. And the rest of them get shifted down one. Let's go ahead and select several of them. See if this works. So we got David and Riley. Let's go up. Sure enough, David, Riley. So you're not limited just by the other kind of sort and filter. You can drag whatever you want and sort it up. So you have a lot of freedom when it comes to sorting and filtering. That about sums it up for sorting and filtering. Stay tuned for the next lesson as we continue our journey through pivot tables.